And I believe we are online.
I'm checking now, but yes, we just went live.
Okay, thank you. Before we actually start, Mayor Palmer asked to say a few words.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I wore purple tonight. I got the memo last minute. Went through the closet. So I wore purple tonight in support of our Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So thank you for that, women. I want to say good evening, everyone. As your mayor, I'm honored to take a moment to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our Home Rule Committee. This dedicated group of citizens has worked diligently to guide our city through the transition from state governance to the home rule city. Their expertise, commitment, and collaborative spirit have been instrumental in ensuring that our city can better serve its residents. I'm truly grateful for their hard work, and I'm excited about the positive changes we'll see in the future. And I've been to some of their meetings, kind of sitting over inside, and they're working really hard, so I want to thank them.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, again, this is the first town hall meeting for the Home Rule Charter Commission. For everybody who's here, this screen over here doesn't work. So if you want to see the screen, you might want to sit on this side. That's the agenda, but we are going to start with a prayer and a pledge to the United States. And Councilman Smith has graciously agreed to start us in prayer. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. Let's bow our heads. Lord Heavenly Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for this great city and all the blessings that it brings. We thank you for the council. We thank you for our mayor. We thank you for this great team that we've put together for this Home Rule Committee. Lord, please be with them as they are maneuvering through this process. Let them be guided in favor. And Lord, we just bless you for all the citizens of the city as well. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. And Mr. Green has agreed to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. And we did have a flag available, but I'd like to be prepared. So, first thing on our agenda, what is the difference between a general law city and a home rule charter city? The previous city attorney gave a presentation on that subject in June. I think it took him about 40 minutes. That chart basically outlines the differences. General law city has less than 5,000 residents. Its powers are granted by the state through the state legislature. It has very limited citizen influence. Other than electing the officials, the citizens really don't have a say. The government structure is determined by the state. That is the number of councilmen, when they're elected, all that. A home rule charter becomes eligible to a city that exceeds 5,000 in population. The powers are then selected by the citizens, not the state. They have the ability to, by petition, create initiatives, referendums, and recall elected officials. The government structure is determined by the citizens, and it's all voter approved. A technical note, Villa Park was officially declared at over 5,000 population in 2016, so it's 2025, and why are we still a general law city? I don't know the answer to that, but we're trying to fix it. Why do we need a home rule city? At one level, state law creates the rights for a general law city to create ordinances, regulations, to be an authority that has the authority to be a party in lawsuits. cities would not have those rights. So they have to be continued in the home rule charter. Okay? More importantly, the voters define the structure of the city government, establish controls over city finances, and can limit the powers of city government. The voters have the power to petition as an initiative to force action on specific issues, as a referendum to reverse an action taken by the council, or to initiate a recall election of an official elected in error. Any of us would hate to admit that we might have done that, but could happen. A home rule charter is still subject to state and federal laws, but the voters do control the number of councilmen, the terms, how they're elected, the duties of the mayor, the duties of the council, and specific staff members like the city manager, city secretary, city attorney. The voters define the type of government utilized, and they have the right to create initiatives, recall, or referendum by petition. The city's right to tax and provide safety for the citizens is also something that can be controlled by the citizens. So there's a lot of really good reasons to have a home rule charter. Are there any questions so far? In the back.
Michael Chandler, I'm talking about.
No, you need a microphone for the video. I know, I'm mean.
Michael Chandler, Kingswood Road. What is the benefit of a home rule charter within our city? How will it affect or help our city out?
I think I just explained that.
Yes, sir. Mainly what's the pros and cons between general law city and the.
Okay, I can go back to the presentation that Mr. Cheshire made in June. He had several points that were benefits to the citizens, and those are all captured. Those charts are on the home rule subpage of the City Little Park website. He had one negative to say about possibly creating a home rule charter, and that is it might cost some money. And it will. To go out for a vote, we will have to provide a copy of the proposed charter to every voter, every registered voter in the city of Little Park. That will cost some money. Probably equal to about 150 feet of the road in front of my house that just got put down, which would be, I don't know, $5,000 or $6,000 maybe. But that's the only negative that gentleman identified, and I have not identified any negatives. So, does that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So, what have we done so far? We have reviewed Articles 1, 2, 3, 5, and 9 of the proposed charter. When I say that, we have come up with what I call consensus. That is, we agreed to go forward with those sections as currently published on the website. Does that mean they're locked in concrete? No. As we go through the rest of this, there can be reasons to go back and revisit parts of it, so that we will need to make sure that the entire charter is completely integrated and there's no conflicts. But we do still need to properly word the preamble to introduce some of the history of Little Park. It is not even an essential part of the charter, but Articles 4 on administration and personnel, certainly the article on initiative, referendum, and recall, a very serious article on finance. And then once a charter is approved, the citizens have the right to modify it every 2 years. That doesn't happen that often, but it is allowed by state law. And then Article 10, transitional provisions. As you will see, we are going to be recommending adopting specific changes that will require modifying our election protocols. And we will need a plan to properly implement the transition from what we have to what we want. Okay? Now, we are at a town hall meeting tonight. We have 2 more meetings on October 22nd and November 5th in which we are going to complete that process. We will have another town hall meeting on November 13th. I believe that's the second Thursday in November. And our goal is to present to the City Council a completed proposed draft home rule charter on December 9th. Okay? I realize that is a bit aggressive, but with the people that we have on the commission, I think it is thoroughly feasible. So, what are the significant changes that we have recommended to date? First, we've decided that maybe 6 council members would be better than 5. We're going to suggest increase the length of a term from 2 to 3 years. The mayor will get a vote, not just break ties. Oops. Okay. Incorporating accountability into the process. What does that mean? And creation of an independent board of ethics. One more detail on that. Why do we need 6 council members? We're experiencing a large increase in our population. One consideration is to promote additional diversity of experience and to provide additional points of contact for the citizens to be able to get answers from the government. Okay? Why 3-year terms? Let's see, I was a new council member officially 3 times. And I can tell you that when you first get elected to the council, it can take a while to really understand everything that needs to be done. It takes a year to go through all the processes, like creating the budget. So if you have a 2-year term, you get 1 year to learn how to do it and 1 year to do it, and then you gotta fight for your seat again. I really think a 3-year term is appropriate. And under Home Rule Charter, we can do that. One other thing that makes that reasonable is that, again, if we misjudge a candidate and elect them and find out that he had some other agenda or was working for his personal gain, we would have the ability to recall and replace him. Okay? The mayor gets a vote. The mayor is an equal, what this would create is a government situation in which the mayor is an equal member of the city council. The mayor manages city council meetings, but is neither superior nor inferior to the other council members. Okay? And of course, the mayor is the spokesperson for the city. But I mentioned this next point at the last council meeting. I am pleased to say that in 40 years that I know of, Willow Park has never had to invoke emergency procedures for anything. We haven't had a tornado here. Closest we got to it was the hill on Sandbass Road kind of slid into the road surface service one time. But that was not even a real emergency. We just had to close the road for a few months. However, if an emergency does occur, the mayor, under state law currently, and under the charter as proposed, would be responsible for protecting the safety and welfare of all of our citizens. And given that responsibility, the mayor requires the respect and support of the council, the city staff, and the citizens. Okay? What did I mean by accountability in the process? One feature that we have inserted that was not in any draft charter that we saw before was to post the evaluation criteria for the city manager. City manager gets an annual review. Maybe that review ought to be more than annual, that's to be determined later. But should the citizens be made aware of what the criteria are that the city manager is being evaluated against? Okay? And then there's the independent board of ethics. There is a provision in there that the council will create a code of ethics for themselves, city employees, certainly the city officers. Okay? And then the board or the council will, by ordinance, create a board of ethics. And it will have broad powers to investigate and enforce ethical conduct that is required of all the elected officials and city officers. And that's all I have to say. What do you have to say? What questions do you have? If you've been following along online what we've been doing, do you have any suggestions on something we should look at? So, this is a town hall meeting, and this is your time now. And I'm putting a mic up here.
I've always got a question.
Libby, of course you do.
I do, well, I'm listening.
I don't
I think,
know.
oh, that's okay. Can you hear me okay? Going this far, I've been sitting in those you have, and I've been sitting on meetings. So what is the city council's role? You present the document, you're drafting it, and you turn it over to the city council. Can they amend it? Can they veto it? Can they say we're not passing it on and call an election? What's that step? Can they change it? So I don't remember y'all talking about that, maybe I missed it, but I'd kind of like to know, because your work is going to the council itself, right?
That is correct. There are some details in your question, Libby, that I quite honestly don't know that I have the specific answers. I would hope that as long as we are attempting to get feedback from the citizens, that they will provide the citizens with the ability to vote up or down whatever we propose. If there is something specific that they have a rationale to change, I believe they have the right to do that. But we just have to wait and see on if there was anything like that, and if such a change would damage other parts of the charter. I'm not going to play what if, because
I just didn't know what they could do or couldn't do.
I believe they could do that. Can they deny putting it on for a vote? I don't know. We'd have to ask the attorney that. I'm just an engineer. Okay. So, any other questions?
I have a question. So when you set forth your ethics and the standards, right? So is that enforced by the attorney, or what's the role? I guess I don't know what the role is there.
Okay. The, chapter 9, article 9, subparagraph B, I think, describes the duties and powers of the Board of Ethics. And that board will be required to be funded by the council and will be given authority to subpoena evidence, subpoena people for comments, and to actually investigate any allegations of misconduct. Depending on how we define that, the board could have the power to levy fines or propose misconduct charges to an actual judicial authority.
Okay, another question. So who elects the board? Is that part of the committee, or where does that come from?
The city council has not drafted that ordinance yet.
Oh, okay, so it's up in the air.
One typical approach to that would be each council member would appoint somebody, or they would have a process by which people would be appointed. But since none of the board members can be affiliated with the election process, I mean, I'm a precinct chair for one of the political parties. Just that role would prevent me from being on that board of ethics. Okay? So if you put them into a mode where they have to be elected, you're kind of defeating the purpose.
Okay.
Okay? Good questions.
I wanted to know, was there a template that was used to develop this charter? And how did you come about forming everything that's in it right now? And I remember you said that 2009 you were working on one, but we didn't have enough population. Is this charter related to your 2009 effort? And my second question is, how does this charter blend in with other things like, I don't know, city procedures, ordinances? How do you make sure that everything kind of goes together and you don't have things in conflict?
Really good questions. Let's see, first, no, what we've come up with has no relevance at all to what we had in 2009. The current 10 members, well, the board consists of 10 voting members and a chair. I don't vote on this stuff. I try to lead the conversation, but the voting members have individually reviewed varying numbers of home rule charters from other cities. Okay? After the first week, we, by discussion, identified 4 home charters that seemed like they were really good front runners. And then we considered those 4, and we picked one of those as the target text against which we would make changes. And we have been modifying that text. We will continue to do so, but that's how we got to where we are. Okay? What was your second question about?
About how does the charter blend in with ordinances and whatever city procedures or whatever else?
Right. Well, I guess the kind of simple answer is very carefully. The charter replaces primarily the state law definitions found in the local government code. The charter itself does not replace the municipal code that is published online. Okay? One of the transition pieces will be to review through the, I don't know how many pages, I think it used to print in like 230 pages of transition plan will be one of the last things that we do, but it is certainly not one of the least important. I'm fairly familiar with the municipal code since I pretty much personally compiled the 1993 version. But it's been modified some since then. And we found out Tuesday night that there are some pieces of what's published online that have been made invalid by other actions of the council that haven't been published, which is in itself a bit confusing, but those kind of things will certainly have to be identified and corrected as needed. Okay, does that answer your question? Okay.
I got one, Gene. I want to go back to the city council. If, whenever you present this to the city council, they go through it, and let's say we at some time have a city council that is more interested in future citizens than the citizens that are already here that want to have this, and they decide that they don't want this to be put on the ballot, what can be done about it, if anything, or we just sunk?
Well, that's a good question. I hope it's not actually. I hope it's not a necessary question.
We could petition to force the question to the ballot.
I'm sorry, ma'am?
We could petition under chapter 9 to force the question to the ballot, but that would just be a question to start the process all over again, and I doubt most citizens would want to do that.
Okay, Ms. Gallick said, what she said was that if the council denied putting the petition on a ballot, say in May, we would have a process we could go through that's authorized by the state. It would just take another year and a half, which, well, my language would deteriorate if I actually described my. Okay. Are there any other questions?
Do you want me to do the podium there? I can reject if I need to.
And if anybody else wants to answer any of these questions, please put your hand up.
I want to go back one question, if I could, please, Gene, to what we discovered or have known for a while now, but was brought to public attention Tuesday, that the website is very outdated, codified items on there that weren't codified, that were supposedly codified, that were giving out misinformation, violating the Texas Open Meetings Act. If you look into some of those chapters, whose responsibility will it be once you guys, say we do the home rule, and you get there and you see that, is it going to be home rule that's suggested, or is it something that the city council should be working on from this moment on, since it's been brought to public attention now? Or whose responsibility is it to keep that website current, correct, and factual?
May I address that? Would you mind if I spoke on that, Gene?
Go ahead, Ms. Hoffman.
So to answer your question, it is not actually the website itself that updated, it is the Franklin Legal Code ordinances. And after some of the things that have recently that we've all learned together, we actually already have the attorneys that are going through some of the ordinances to look for some of the issues that we found. The actual city website itself is a completely different beast. That's what we control. So that is the thing that we were working on launching a new one. That
We being staff, your staff?
we being staff, yes ma'am.
It's your responsibility?
Yes ma'am.
Not the city council?
Yes ma'am. But we have begun addressing the problems that we found with the online ordinances with our legal team.
When did you begin that work?
That would be a question that I can't tell you right off the top of my head, but I can get that answer for you for sure.
A month, a year, 6 weeks, yesterday? You can't.
I was informed this week by our city manager or our assistant city manager that we were working on it. I can't tell you how long they've been working on it. So I am letting you know that now that we're fully aware, we're on top of it.
And your name was?
My name's Rose Hoffman. I'm the communications director.
Thanks, Rose.
I'm going to add one comment to that. I don't know how many details are affected by this syndrome. We know that one rather significant section on, that covers operation of the council and how the agenda is produced and who produces it. Whatever is currently published on the website, and again, through Franklin Legal, that is a service that we buy to keep up with the municipal code. I don't know how many other details may be in that same category where something has been approved by the council and never actually identified on the published municipal code. So I am really interested to find out the answer to that. And I could probably spend about 45 minutes telling you some of the ugly stuff that I found when I did the 1993 codification. But we may actually have to go through a recodification process, which is something that maybe three of us in this room. Yes, sir.
So how do you use the mic?
You gotta use the mic.
This gentleman is also part of the commission.
A lot of people, what they wanna know is when the charter is enacted or before it's enacted, can it or will it overstep state boundaries, state laws, anything as pertains to the state?
That is not a yes or no question. There are state law provisions that will supersede anything we put in the home rule charter. I cannot give you a list right now. I don't think you really want me to give you a list right now. There are probably also federal provisions that could affect our ability to have a specific thing in the home rule charter. Again, I do not have a list to share with you at this point in time. Okay? I don't think that we are, well, I know we are not consciously putting anything in the current charter that would be superseded by either state or federal law, because we are plagiarizing, if you will, from other home rule charters that are already in effect in other cities in Texas. Okay?
One last question, Jim.
You sure?
How much interaction will citizens and your voters have within, after the charter is enacted and or formed? How much interaction can the voters have, influence, in a sort with the, any city buildings?
Okay.
Whether voting or petition,
Okay.
anything of the sort.
So currently, we can get up in front of the city council and we can voice agreements, make a suggestion for something that ought to be happening that isn't. And that's all we can do. We can ask and make suggestions, and they can continue to just do whatever they want to do. Because they don't have to do anything that a citizen. Now, occasionally I have noticed somebody comes in and actually provides a rational thought, and the council recognizes that and does something about it, okay? Under the charter, if somebody comes in and provides a recommendation and the council ignores them, then that person has the right to go out and see if he can muster support from other citizens. One thing that we're going to have to talk about under the Article 6 provisions for initiative, referendum, and recall will be what is the level of support somebody must garner in order to affect the change. And I will tell you my opinion right now is that level has to be high enough so we don't thrash on every little thought that comes through, but low enough where we can get realistic change as needed. And so we're going to have to debate and decide what that level is.
have a question. I don't know if y'all have discussed this yet, but, I was hoping that with all of the work that our public officials do put into serving, that we might consider giving them some kind of stipend annually for their service, whether that's a stipend or just a one, not like payroll or anything, but just, you know, I would like to see them receive some benefit. I don't know if y'all discussed that yet.
Well, we haven't specifically embedded that into the current charter draft. I think there's a provision in there that can be established by ordinance. I can tell you that in the 2009 version, we generously allocated a $25 check to each person who arrived at each meeting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was $2,009, okay? Now, at our last meeting, the attorney who was present did actually provide a thought that there is a provision in state law that if we do pay the elected officials, they become immune from suit. Now, the city, that is individually. Now, if somebody sues the city, that's something different, but that means that we could not, for instance, Mr. Smith is in the back here, we could not sue him personally for whatever somebody thinks he might have done. Okay?
As a council,
Ordinance, not charter.
it kind of identifies us as council members.
Yes.
Right? For actions, for public action.
I'm pretty sure that people watching online couldn't hear, that
Clarify.
if somebody, that by paying them, they are indemnified from, accusations. Okay? Okay, Carol?
First one is, I guess the charter just got posted on the city website, so I guess
Yes.
can't ask detailed questions because I haven't had a chance to read through the whole thing. So is there a way to communicate with this group of people? Is there an email? Is there, how do you suggest things?
Well, I did print out some things to gather people's email and phone information, so, yeah.
So how do we contact you? How do we let you know, I read this section and whatever, not that I, had okay.
Should have been hard.
Okay, all right, I'll get one of those. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And they're scheduled. So
And they're
when they
Wednesdays.
are, and there's a public comment period, and we welcome questions.
Okay, very good. I've been seeing them online, that's what I've been doing. Second question, okay, so we're talking, you talked about the mayor, city council, the changes you're making with that. I've always liked the checks and balances that we have in our federal government. And I just wanted to encourage the same kind of structure maybe in this charter. I don't know how that looks, but, checks and balances, good thing.
I believe I used the phrase checks and
You did?
balances to the commission on at least a couple of occasions.
Okay.
Let me do a comparison though. You mentioned the federal government. We have checks and balances amongst a legislative branch, an executive branch, and a judicial branch. Well, currently, we seem to have a problem between the legislative branch and the executive branch, which is the council and the mayor. And we don't actually have a judicial branch that oversees our city council the way the Supreme Court oversees the legislature and the presidential administration. Okay, so the analogy of checks and balances kind of breaks down to an extent.
Well, isn't the city attorney kind of coming in and doing part of that function? I mean, I've seen him during
Oh,
city
yeah.
council meetings sometimes.
Well, I would like to set up a system, a definition of government, where the city attorney does not have to act like a referee for the participants, okay? And I can't say it more clearly than that. I really want the elected members to be equal and to give each other the respect that they should be required to give to other elected officials. Pretty simple. Okay, is that?
Yeah, yeah, okay, and the third one is a suggestion. Just by comments that I'm hearing, there seems to be some anxiety about what the city council is gonna do when the charter is completed. I was just wondering if you might consider involving the city council at some much earlier level where you could maybe have discussions and compromise or whatever, come to agreement on things, so you didn't wait till, you know, it was the very end and the charter's completed and they say no, or whatever the anxieties are about that.
Well, okay, let me make a comment about that. We are and have stated consistently essentially interested in every citizen of Little Park paying attention to what we're doing. We're trying to be open and transparent, which is why we are here tonight, which is why we put our meetings on, available live on stream. Let's see, all of the city council members are citizens of Little Park and have access to all of that information, and I've gotten some feedback that they have actually, some of them have actually watched our proceedings, and I have not gotten any feedback from any of them. I have asked even if you have any suggestions on to improve the way we're doing this or what we should look at, that would be great.
So I just looked it up myself, so I didn't know this before. As long as you file it properly, they can't say no.
Oh, well, that's good to know. Mr. Donovan, I have not lost any sleep over that question, okay? Okay, what Mr. Donovan said from the back is he looked up on his phone, boy, these things are great, aren't they? The fact that the city council can't actually deny putting it on the ballot. I don't know if they have any discretion on which ballot they put it on. I would hope that it would be the next available ballot, but again, like I said, I am hopeful that these questions of that category are not necessary. So, okay? Absolutely. I mean, sure.
We have all approached this with great hope in our hearts and our minds. I don't think there's any better way to run a city government than to do this. It opens everything up. You see everything. The total public has access to it. They have a more ability to participate than ever before. There's no question that this is the best way to run a city. And it brings the public in and it lets them know what's going on. They become a part of it. It's a wonderful thing. We have friends that are involved in very, very successful communities, financially and as far as the public is concerned, and they're very successful communities. The streets are great, the police are great, everything is great in these cities because they have a tremendous participation that is not here. But we want that to happen. We want everyone to know what's going on all the time. When something happens, they will know. That's what this is all about. And I can say, we have a great leader on this. We're all very, very excited about what's going on. I can't tell you how excited we are. For government, for democracy, this is incredible. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Okay. Ken?
On the separation of powers, it's actually mayor, council member, and city manager. And I assume the charter will describe the hierarchy.
council, the mayor, and the city manager are the three major defined roles in the government. But again, I will state that the way we are defining this, the mayor becomes integrated into the council. So the council then is responsible for overseeing the city manager's conduct, operation, how well he's running the city. And again, the accountability thing I mentioned was if they publish what are the expectations of the city manager, then everybody knows what is expected. Okay?
I have another city concern. I worked at Lockheed for a long time. We have the written procedures for everything. And I worry that our city maybe does not have written procedures for everything. I don't know if that's true or not. However, should the charter address the requirement for written procedures as opposed to people leaving office and forgetting how they're supposed to go?
That's actually a good suggestion. And I'll put it in the context of what we just discussed a few moments ago, is that there is one example we know of where action was taken by the council that invalidated basically what was written procedure, the published municipal code. One thing I've thought of since that was identified Tuesday night is that there be a requirement that updates to the published code be made in a timely manner. Okay. Now, is there a written procedure for everything? Let's see. Rose.
Yes, sir.
Is there a written procedure for who orders pens for the city?
No, sir.
Okay. So something above that level.
Sure.
You understand what I'm saying?
Sure, the city credit card, et cetera, et cetera.
No. To have a written procedure for essential operations, I would hope that we do have operational handbooks for all the departments. We used to. I assume we still do, no matter how obsolete. Okay? Okay. Are we running out of things to talk about?
Hang on,
Mr. Chandler, come on up.
Thank you, sir.
I would like to see you sit at the table and ask yourself the question.
Besides,
Mr. Chandler, come here, put this on.
besides questions, I'm looking for opinions also.
Yes.
Ma'am, what's your opinion on the enacting this charter?
I'm very much in favor of it.
What makes you in favor of it?
Everything that I've heard, I think it's going to be great for Beauregard.
Yes, ma'am, you're not married, are you?
I'm a widow.
Calm down, Michael.
I was married for 48 and a half years. But now I have been a widow for 13 and a half years.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, I won't.
Get it going.
I didn't think you were. I'm 83.
Just an age, just a number.
Yeah, well,
That doesn't exactly, and I need to read the charter that just came out, so.
No opinions?
Oh, I got an opinion.
Okay.
I gotta look at it before I have a complete opinion. I mean, this is probably.
Now, Mayor,
with all the citizens, when we first started researching different cities who were home rule and who were not, what did you discover? And you shared with all of us in the group, how many cities in the state of Texas that qualify for home rule that are not home rule?
There's many, but I believe in the state of Texas right now, I think, I'll have to look it back up, I don't remember, I believe there's 317.
6%.
I believe that's how many cities that are home rule right now. Along with a lot more looking into it, but not talking about it yet. Yes, ma'am, I reviewed I reviewed 112 charters in order for all of us to try to help make a decision for our great city.
Tell everybody how many charters you reviewed.
112.
Okay.
Yes,
Before
ma'am.
the process ever even started.
And it really does suck. It really does.
Good for you, though.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, we're on TV.
Thank you for putting the mic down, Mr. Chandler. Okay, I'll stay here with you all night, and we'll talk about anything you want to talk about, but I'm not just gonna stand there and look at you all. So,
Thank you, Charlie.
I was just wondering, I noticed we don't have any police security here tonight, but we go to the city hall and they're everywhere.
well,
I know this is not
no,
city
I can't
hall.
tell you that. There are security personnel in the building, I've just hidden them well, okay?
Oh,
Well, I really appreciate all the questions. Suggestions are still welcome. If you want to email me and other input, I will try to deal with that and share with the commission. We have 2 more meetings prior to the next town hall. I am hoping that this room is filled for the second one. Why are we backing up? Oh, yeah, schedule.
Can Rose mention something, please?
So Michael and I were talking back here. Would it be helpful for y'all if we put a link directly on the home rule page of the website that emails you?
Sure.
Because we could do that.
Answer questions.
Sure.
Yeah,
Michael will answer
with
all
feedback
those
on the
emails.
charter.
I'll answer them.
I bet you will. But that's an option that you guys have available if that would be helpful.
Of course. Any way that we can get input from the citizens and feedback to the citizens.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay, I'll
absolutely.
take care of that tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. Good point. Well, I'm thinking that we're about done. Unless going once, going twice. Yes, Charlie.
Charlie, take the microphone.
How many of y'all here came in with a preconceived notion of what you thought this charter would be? Okay? Did this meeting make you feel better or worse about what we're doing right now? You feel better, sir? Better? Okay? Y'all feel better too, sir? Back here? You all feel better about what we're doing? Okay, what are your reservations?
I don't have any reservations. I want to see a finalized product before I even make any.
Or you're just waiting for more?
Absolutely.
Ma'am, how are you feeling?
I don't know too much about this stuff.
Mhm.
So to me, this is a learning process. I'm trying to keep up with the videos. I'm gonna read that. I really don't know enough to really, so.
As long as y'all are feeling that we're making good progress. You know, said, you know, I was thinking this was a good idea, but after tonight, I think it's not very good, then that means we have to go back to the drawing board. But if you're coming in and you're feeling that we're doing okay, that gives us the impetus to go ahead and put the nose to the grindstone a little bit harder and have more information for you at the next town hall. Yes, sir.
I watched the last committee meeting, remember sections 3 and 5 were discussed, for instance, and I was really appreciative of the talent and the knowledge of this crew here. So yes, this helped, but I got it in the last video that I watched also. I'm grateful you all are here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna take this opportunity. I've been watching y'all sitting in the corner, and I don't know most of you. I don't know, except for Gene when we kind of go back. And I probably missed the introductions, but I'm really figuring out who people are, what their backgrounds are, just by little things you say. Could you go down and you all applied to be on this committee? Why did you do it? What's your background? I know Mr. Hodges has mentioned that he's been in public information in cities and run newspaper. I don't know the rest of y'all much of anything. So would you take a few minutes and just tell us who you are and why why you want to do this, what's your background, what you think to bring to it?
Sure.
You might be lawyers or judges, whatever.
Not a lawyer. My name is Dave Lorenzo, and I live on Sam Bass Road. And I think, I've had the recent experience of obviously undergoing all the renovations that we did on Sam Bass Road. It didn't always go smoothly. And one of the problems that we had there was that the city, and particularly the council, wasn't listening to our concerns. And when I saw this opportunity to come along and to make a difference, to open up that communication with the city, and also to kind of hit on what Gene said, accountability, having responses, getting to know what the thought processes are that the city, I'll tell the council especially, and what the city manager is doing, and getting direct feedback from them on why they're doing certain things. I worked at Lockheed for 35 years, and I ran my own business for another 12, and now I work for my wife. But she has a business, so I have another business. But that was kind of my primary reason, because of my recent experiences. I've lived here since 1992, and I've seen a lot of different governments here run through the city. But it was time to get involved, so that was my story.
Name's Charlie Hodges. I've lived in the city for about 5 years now. I spent 40 years in the news business, working first in Springtown and in Weatherford, worked at old KZ Radio. Y'all remember KZ Radio back in the day? I was the news director at KZ Radio back in the early 80s. Went on and became a news reporter at KRLD. I was with KRLD and TSN for about 20 years. I've also run my own PR firm, been around government for a long time, covered government in 3 different states, and I just wanted to get in on this because I believe I have a knowledge of government and charters and how good government operates, to where I could help have a say into how this city's future would be through this charter. And recognizing that there's difference between putting policy together in a charter, because you can't do that, but putting something that's a living and breathing document that I hope will be sustainable for this city for decades. So that's why I'm here.
Hi, I'm Gwendolyn Galley. I'm a 21-year-old college student. I come from a very civically engaged family. We've lived out here for at least 12 years. And I am an Eagle Scout through the Scouting America program. I've served on my council's executive board as a youth representative, and I'm very blessed to be able to represent the youth population in that capacity. And well, Park's been my home for a long time. I plan to stay in Parker County if I can and eventually raise my family here. And I enjoyed the opportunity to be able to have a say in that future of where I plan to live. And of course, I love our community and communicating with our community and having engagement on both sides. So.
I'm Gene.
I'm Darrell Lubner. I live on Fox Hunt Trail over by the tower. We've been in Willow Park for about 14 years. We moved from upstate New York, where we were engaged in a lot of activities up there relative to the local government, how things are run. My neighbor was a town supervisor, and we had a lot of other folks that we intermingled with that were involved in local government. I work for Lockheed right now, set to retire hopefully soon. So why did I want to get involved? Well, when we moved here about 14 years ago, Willow Park was a small, what I would say a small rural, we call them towns where I come from versus cities. And now you can see the exponential growth that's occurring, right? It's coming from the east and moving west. So I wanted to get involved and help shape, the government, the processes for Willow Park to address, some of the current issues, but also help prepare the city for growth, so that it's controlled, as we move forward. And we build in, more employees for the residents.
Actually, I believe that the first year or two of Willow Park's existence, it was the town of Willow Park, and then got changed to the city of.
My name is Roy Turbin. I'm a United States Army veteran, hold a bachelor and a master's degree. I've been a college professor and adjunct professor. I taught at UTA, Tarrant County Community College in Southwest Texas State. I was a judge in Tarrant County, elected 4 times, Justice of the Peace Precinct 7. For 10 years, I served as a visiting judge on the Education Department for the Texas Justice Center, in which I taught courses on emergency protective orders, family violence issues, the handling of the jury trial from initial filing all the way up to the trial and through appeal. So I had a lot of experience in that, and when I ran for a judge, I had never done anything, never run for any public office. I got a good friend, I called a Californian named Chuck Norris. He flew from Los Angeles and did fundraising for me. And when I ran for re-election, he did another, and I didn't have to do any more fundraisers because everybody wanted to come and meet Chuck Norris. So anyway, my wife and I have been in the karate business since '73. I still have a school. I've got branch clubs in Los Angeles, Fort Collins, Colorado, Austin, Arlington, and Switzerland. So we've got branch clubs around the country and internationally. But we came to this town about 5 years ago, and after I retired from the bench, we lived out in Palomino County. We had a place out there. I sold my schools in town, and so we just got involved. She found this town and found this house, and we fell in love with it. But we also have a good idea what good government was and what good government should be. And we came and watched for a while, and we thought, my, oh my, I think we can make some changes here. And I fallen in with a bunch of scoundrels up here. We all feel the same way. I think we can make some real positive changes that open it up for the public view, where everyone will know what's going on all the time. So am I excited about being here? I'm very old, I'm 77. So this is kind of old for another run at public office, but I'm excited. I'm excited for what's going on here. So that's it.
Hi, my name is Mary Diedrich. I moved to Parker County, I want to say in 2009. I have lived in Willow Park for about 6 years. I have about 20 years of background in public relations, but not the kind of public relations that this gentleman over here has with the Texas Rangers, the Dallas Cowboys, and things like that. And I was also a real estate dual agent for 5 years. The reason why I got involved was because there was an incident that happened where I lived. There was a contractor that was speeding down Ranch House Road, and he was pulling a trailer. and one of his tires flew off and went right through my fence and into my backyard. And I was so thankful that it did happen, because it would have probably killed someone if they were crossing the street, a kid, because the park's right there. And I went back to the backyard to check out this tire. It was so heavy I couldn't even lift it. And so I went to city council to face them, to say, hey, this is what happened. You know, I think that the police maybe need to monitor Ranch House Road a little bit more. And maybe put some speed bumps, perhaps, maybe. So it was just dead silence. No one came out to see the damage that was done. I was told just to email the mayor, and I did, and he forwarded to the chief of police at the time. Nothing was done. And I never forgot that. I love the city of Willow Park, by the way. But I just never forgot how, if that would have hit someone driving, coming the opposite direction, it would have killed them. And silence from city council, silence from our city. So, this is why I got involved.
Excuse me, my name is Tammy Blackstock. I'm a certified special education teacher. I am retired. The reason why we've lived here for 5 years in Willow Park. We have wonderful neighbors, and I just wanted to be more involved in the community and help strengthen the communication, because it seems like the citizens are always the last one to know. So this is your opportunity to be involved, citizens. This is your chance to back home rule. Somebody said you can either have Austin be your boss or you can get involved. And this is your chance to be involved. So it's an honor working with all these people. And I've learned a lot, and I enjoy educating others and just being a part of the community. Thanks.
Hello, Mayor.
Do you want me to bring next thing?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Introduce yourself.
I'm Michael.
Okay, you have so much experience.
Come on, you're
I want to hear it.
You gotta take this seriously.
Come on.
I'm Michael. I'm retired. Cook, lots of meats, barbecue business, and I fish a lot, a whole lot. I'm retired. I fish.
Okay, but what level of government experience do you have?
I'm retired from a couple of different counties. Work with FEMA, state of Texas, different federal agencies, churches, municipalities, this, that, the other. I've done all kinds of junk in my years of all this. Don't regret any minute of it. But one thing I'm here for is our community and our kids. Other than that, whatever, but our community, our kids, that's what's most important.
Mike, how many years you served in the Marine Corps?
7.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Jean, Alexis.
Oh, there's sorry.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I wanted to say thank y'all to all y'all that I was so proud to be able to appoint. I had 28 people. All of a sudden, everybody wanted to step up, which was lovely. So it was hard making a choice, but as you can see and hear, that the diversification from 21 to 77 to, I'm not saying. Anyway, everyone that's here is so, their background is so diverse, and that's why I really wanted to appoint a group like this. And they have really done me proud in serving and listening to their communication. They're very good about communicating with each other and listening to each other's ideas. So I just want to say thank y'all and give it back to you.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you just a little bit more, because y'all hear me speak a lot, but a lot of you don't really know what my background is. I was in the Air Force for 7 years, retired engineer from General Dynamics, Lockheed Martin. 14 years on the city council, after a couple of years on the planning and zoning commission. That 14 years was spread over 25 calendar years. So I think I have a different perspective on city government than most people, maybe everybody. And I got involved because I thought we should have been doing the home rule charter exercise in 2017, because we officially were over 5,000 in 2016. Pretty simple. There was no reason to not avail yourselves of the ability to do home rule. That is, the citizens rule their home. Yeah, I think it's pretty simple. So, thank you. Does anybody have any other questions about the charter? In that case, I'm going to call it a night and let Rose go home and watch that one.
Thank you.